Video, we'll be using the St. Jude Survivorship Portal to investigate the association between long-term mental health, amputation status, and age in childhood cancer survivors. We'll begin by opening the Charts tab and generating a summary plot of the distribution of mental health scores in the cohort. So open the Summary Plots button and search for the SF36 Mental Health Summary Scores variable. This will generate a bar chart of the summary scores, and we'll convert this chart to a violin plot. We can then overlay this plot with the amputation status of survivors. So go to the Overlay drop-down menu and search for amputation. And we can see from this plot that there is not a big difference between the distribution of SF36 mental health summary scores between survivors with amputations and those without amputations. So next we'll see if the age at diagnosis of these survivors has an influence on this relationship. To do so, we'll click on the Filter tab, and we will filter for survivors with amputation first. So we'll select those with amputations. And then we'll replace the overlay term with the variable for age at cancer diagnosis. So to more clearly see the relationship between age and mental health, we can edit the binning of the overlay term. You can click on the overlay term and click Edit. And here we can modify the binning. So we'll click Varying Bin Sizes and just select one bin boundary to be 10. So this plot shows that for survivors with amputations, those that were diagnosed under the age of 10 had significantly lower mental health scores compared to survivors with amputations who were diagnosed above the age of 10. So this is an interesting relationship, and we can look more closely at this relationship using a regression analysis. So we'll do that by first clearing the filter and closing out this plot. Then we will begin a regression analysis by clicking on the Regression Analysis button, and we'll set up a logistic regression. And the outcome variable for the regression analysis will be the SF36 mental health scores. And we can set the bin boundary for this variable to be 40. Then we'll change the boundary inclusion so that the outcome category will be less than 40. We'll set the reference group to be greater than or equal to 40 so that the outcome category will be less than 40, and this represents a low mental health score. Next, we will add independent variables. We'll add the first independent variable we'll add will be the sex of survivors. The next independent variable will be the age at cancer diagnosis of survivors. And we'll set the bin of this variable to be the same, to be 10, which is the same as what we used in the violin plot above. And we'll set the reference group of this variable to be greater than or equal to 10. And the last independent variable that we'll add will be amputation status. And since we observed an interaction between amputation and age using the violin plot, we will specify an interaction between these variables in the regression analysis. So now we can run the analysis. here are the results of the regression analysis, showing different sets of results from residuals to coefficients, type 3 statistics, and other summary statistics. And from the coefficients table, we can see a significant interaction between age at cancer diagnosis of survivors and the amputation status of survivors. Specifically, we can see that those survivors that were diagnosed with cancer under the age of 10 and received an amputation had significantly increased odds of developing poor mental health compared to survivors without amputation. And conversely, survivors that were diagnosed above the age of 10 and received amputation had significantly reduced odds of developing poor mental health compared to survivors without amputation.